Mum keeps going on about cloves, as in the spice, for when you've got toothache or inflammation, right? And it's well known and well used that you put cloves in your mouth and it's good for toothache and numbing your tooths and inflammation, right? But the thing is, if there's a war, and there's a war, right, and you can't get pain relief and you're looking to go towards the natural route to get it for free, right, because you've got no money and you can't get hold of it anyway because it's too expensive or there isn't any, and there's no cloves because it's not getting imported in anymore, right? I'm just thinking, like, where the heck do you get something that's equal to, that can be grown in the UK? Because cloves come from Malaysia, I believe. Malaysia, right? So you can't grow it here. You can't grow the plant here. It won't grow in the UK. So I was thinking to myself, how do you get? I've got a medicinal garden. I just need to highlight that, right? I know I keep going on about all this stuff, all these plants and things. It's for a reason. It's because I've got a medicinal garden on purpose. I've got disabilities. I've got ailments. I want to know I can get what I need if I have to, right? So that's why I'm telling you. There is an equivalence. And I think we've talked about this before, me and Mum, but I forgot all about it. And then I looked it up again and she's like, oh, yeah. And I was like, oh, yeah. The equivalence of cloves for us in the UK is a plant that's called wood avens, right? Look it up, Avens, wood avens. Originally, me and Mum didn't like them. We've got loads in garden. You can't help it. Once they get in your garden, they get everywhere. There is no getting rid of them. And they've got like yellow flowers and these spiky balls. Spiky balls. They are. And they get everywhere. You can't get rid of them. They're everywhere. And I remember my mum saying originally, we don't want those. Don't get them in your garden because otherwise you can't get them out. Well, it's too late. I've got them. But we found out, and then forgot, and then found out again that wood avens are natural. They are considered a weed. Do you know, it's funny, all these medicinal plants that are labelled as weeds because they're not ornamental, this all came about in 1800s, 1700s and 1800s, when all the halls and the manors and the country houses wanted ornamental gardens with pretty flowers that had no function at all to show that they were rich enough to have a garden that had no function whatsoever other than to look good. You know, that's why they had plain grass. That's why they had roses and box hedging and, you know, topiary and stuff like that. It were status because they could. It's got nothing to do with living at all. And then anything that was to do with living and things that were good for you were called a weed. Poor people had weeds. That's where all this comes from. And that's why a lot of people nowadays want the flower gardens, because they want to be just like these fancy houses, and they're forgetting that all these things that they're considering a weed are actually really, really good stuff, and they ought not to be, you know, turning a blind eye to it. I've gone off topic again. Wood avens, look them up. It's the root that you're interested in. You don't want the leaves or anything like that. They're quite tough, hairy, spiky. The top part is not the interesting bit. It's the root, and you can boil it or you can steep it in like alcohol, vodka, and it works the same way. So you can hold it in your mouth and gargle it, and it's good for toothache and inflammation, and it's also an astringent, so it restricts blood flow, which ain't a bad thing if you've got a problem with blood coming out and you don't clot too easy. I am I can get the tiniest cut, and because I've got Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, it's really difficult for me to heal. So they reopen, they don't heal well at all. It takes ages for it to stop bleeding in the first place, and then it can keep reopening because I've got thin skin. So it's good to know this kind of stuff. It's really, really important that you learn about this stuff and just reconsider how you think about things and what you're looking at, and you know, how you consider it versus what it actually is. We've always got a UK version of whatever plant it is somewhere else. The world is a magical place, and it makes lots of different varieties to cover all the same problems, the same ailments. And they are suited to each continent or region or whatever. Yeah, wood avens, not a bad thing. You want them. Keep them in your garden. Toothache, inflammation, astringent. Oh, good for diarrhea as well. But I don't want to go down that road on that conversation, because that's, well, when is that conversation ever a nice one? You know? But yeah, I thought I'd let you know, because, well, I love my plants, don't I? Look, when there's a war, you don't forget your roots. Dig. That's what they said, World War II. You best dig, right? And you best get planting. It's not all about your veggies. It's not all about your berries and your trees and your fruits. It's about your foraging. It's about your natural plants, you know. Acorn coffee for a reason. Dandelion and burdock. It's in the name. It's not a pop. It was a real drink made from dandelion and burdock, you know, like, I don't know. I just think people would be a lot more healthier and less out of pocket if we went back to natural ways from homegrown goods. Do you know what I mean? Yeah,